Sorry about the late upload, but you know, the whole freaking video, as soon as I got it edited, started uploading it, it got corrupted, so I'm redoing it same day I'm uploading it, but it's fine. I want to clarify that the first half of this video is going to be very number-based, going over a bunch of the actual details, went back through the MCU, each project, marked down notes. When I get into the later part of it, that's when I'll be going to actual, like, examples of it. But to start off, I do want to kind of debunk the whole MCU thing from the beginning. So let's just go over a couple numbers here. So in the Infinity Saga, a total of 29 heroes were added. Now, some of them may have died, but we're just going over how many were added by each saga. So 29 were added in the first saga, 21 of which were male. And then the second saga, the multiverse, we have a total of 55 added, where 33 are, male. So considering you add up these totals, not including the ones that have died, we have added 54 males and 30 females. And people want to call it the MCU. I mean, it's a 60-40 male to female. So if we're going to call it an MCU, let's make some sense, guys. Come on. Just because you don't like some of the characters, bet you never liked them in the comics. Bet you never liked them except for, certain kind of videos online. But, I don't care. If they make a hero I'm not interested in, still going to watch it to get through and learn everything that it's adding in. It's a connected universe. It adds stuff into it. So when you're going to call it the MCU, I'd like to remind you that 6 out of 10 characters are male, so in no way, shape, or form can you defend that position, period. So let's just get to that. So when it comes to villains that were added in, we have 21 in the Infinity Saga, 19 of which were male. And we have 13 males and 6 females added in for a total of 19 villains for the Multiverse Saga. So again, no MCU. This is still a majority of men. It's kind of, it's not even funny at this point when people claim it. It's like you're obviously on a bandwagon and that's it. Let's see. Oh yeah, the heroes, the villain problem, out of, let's see, out of the 21 villains added, 13 of them are dead. And in the Multiverse Saga, out of 19 villains introduced, only 7 died. So we can already point out that the Multiverse Saga is getting way better on not killing its villains off and being a lot more comic accurate with that so that it can return and be a part of bigger stories. Let's see. Factions introduced, 5 in the Infinity Saga, where only 2 of them are still around. And out of the 13 factions introduced in Multiverse, 11 are still around. So not only is the multiverse adding more heroes, it's adding and killing off less villains. It's got more factions being introduced. And when you get to the connections and not references, not like Easter eggs, not subtle things. I mean like big things, like a hero showing up in another show, brand new characters, new factions, going to a new place, things like that. We have 12 of those throughout the entirety of the Infinity Saga. We have 38 in the Multiverse Saga. So hands down, it is over 3 times better than the Infinity Saga when it comes to a connected universe, world building, and all the connections and additions. So hands down, just better. So let's look at the big bads. Thanos versus Kang. Which one had more buildup? We look back and we think that, man, Thanos was so built up so much. There was so much about, not really. There was 2 post-credit scenes. And he had 2 scenes in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That's it. I mean, unless you want to count his ship showing up at the end of Ragnarok, but then that's like a few seconds added to it. it's not even a big deal. But let's look at Kang. What has he had? Well, first off, he had a whole season. Then he had a post-credits scene. And a whole movie. And a second season of Loki. All focus on him. So we got a movie, 2 seasons of a TV show, but only 1 post-credit scene. Well, I mean, we can just take the 1 season, 1 episode, that final episode, just the final conversation between Loki, Sylvie, and Kang. Well, He Who Remains. And you have multiple times the amount of time right there that Thanos had built up. So who built up the villain better? Obviously, it's Kang. Kang was built up way better than Thanos ever was in the Infinity Saga. We want to remember that he was really built up good, but that's because Infinity War and Endgame, we had a grand, epic appearance and like battles with him, and all sorts of stuff came up. But we ain't even got to that. You know, one thing I will say that the Infinity Saga does win on is that, you know, we're only getting Kang and 2 Avengers movies, kind of like Infinity War and Endgame, but we're not getting 2 other ones. We are just only having the big bad this time, and that's a little weird to me. But hey, that's something that they actually lost on. But yeah, just to go over that list, let's go through. You know, in the first saga, we had Iron Man, War Machine, Thor, Hawkeye, Vision, Quicksilver, Doctor Strange, Wong, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Spider-Man, Quill, Drax, Groot, Rocket, Black Panther, Ant-Man, Captain America, Hulk, Fury, and Korg. And for the females, we had Black Widow, Gamora, Wanda, Mantis, Valkyrie, Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Nebula. But let's go with the second sagas bringing in. And now I am also including the known heroes that are coming in, like Deadpool 3, that appeared as even cameo kind of like stuff like Xavier from Multiverse of Madness. So keep in mind, I am adding those in. But we have Xavier, Black Bolt, Comran, and Cameron. I don't remember how to pronounce it. It's been a minute since I've seen Ms. Marvel. Hercules, the swordsman dude, the mutant from She-Hulk. We also have Man-Thing, Beast, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Shang-Chi, Namor, Scar, Wiccan, Speed, Adam Warlock, U.S. Agent, New Falcon, Deadpool, Wolverine, Mr. Fantastic, Thing, Human Torch, Blade, Black Knight, 4 male Eternals, Daredevil, Punisher, Red Guardian, Sentry, Loki, Watcher, and the new Captain America. For the females, we had She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Spectrum, Kate Bishop, Stature, Echo, Yelena, America Chavez, Cosmo, 4 Eternals, Black Panther, Love, Girl from the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I don't remember her name, Sylvie, Scarlet Scarab, Clea, Ironheart, Gaia, and Binary. So, just to add that too, you know. But let's get on to the points for and against the Infinity Saga. And I'm going to start with the points for and then against it, and then start with against the multiverse, and then go to for, and I'll give my opinion at the end. Well, more or less see if it changes from being multiverse sagas winning. So let's see, points for Infinity Saga. It started it all. You can't argue that the Infinity Saga did not start it all. I mean, yes, you can say that if not for the Foxman, the Fantastic Four series, Spider-Man, Blade, all of this, that we wouldn't have gotten here today. You're probably right. But without the Infinity Saga taking the risk it did, being more comic accurate, and in some cases, like changing Iron Man up to not be an abusive drunk, hey, that was a good change. But, you know, it started it all. And without that, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't, you know, if people didn't dig the Avengers movie, we never would have got to Thanos. So, a lot of things made it just peak in that regard. But, they made Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange popular. Like, besides the Ultimate Alliance games and the animated Spider-Man series, I had no idea who Doctor Strange was till the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd literally never heard of them until the Guardians of the Galaxy movie in the MCU. So they made a talking tree and raccoon popular. Like, come on. The MCU did a lot of good stuff within the Infinity Saga. Superheroes are now mainstream. It was an easy to see and follow plot and got past most of the learning curve of doing a connected universe. And now we're to the points against the Infinity Saga. It was obviously, if you remember the numbers and everything from the beginning, it's so not as good at world building, and it was a lot slower. I mean, if you think about it, the MCU started in 2008 and went to like 2020 something. So we've got a few years into the multiverse saga, and it's just showing the evidence of everything the Infinity Saga learned. First half was so disconnected, except for post-credit scenes, which they probably wouldn't have even had them if not for the Foxman universe actually doing them. You know, they're the ones that started this. So give credit where credit's due. But in the end, man, it was so disconnected that Feige kept hearing results of it's disconnected, we don't know where it's going, there seems to be no direction, there's barely any connections besides post-credit scenes. We want to know where this is going. So, in phase 1, Feige made the phases. Something a lot of fans of the Infinity Saga want to forget that talk crap on the Multiverse Saga. They're like, oh, this has no direction. I'm like, sorry, you're blind and you can't notice everything they put plainly on screen, but you do realize the Infinity Saga almost had Shang-Chi and Ant-Man in the first Avengers movie. They have had changes like that, dude. That stuff's so discoordinated. Like I said, phases had to get made for people to see the vision. That's how disconnected it was. That's how lack of a big world they were building, a bigger plot. Like, people want to forget that it didn't get good to halfway till through phase 3. Maybe a little earlier, but not phase 1 and 2. Like, you can't forget the movies that were there. They did Hydra dirty. Like, if you didn't watch the Captain America movies, Hydra didn't exist. Except for a mention about the Tesseract. But let's see. Less character introductions by far. Less factions, less organizations by far. Less crossovers by far. Movies focused on a hero over an event. Which, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, cool, we can focus on a character-driven story, but why do people think that it's easier to make a character-driven story and put that into an event than it is to have an event where a character arc is done well? Like, just think about most top 10 movie lists. They didn't focus on a character, they focused on a story. And that's the big important thing, you know. Thor 2 and 3 and Iron Man 2 and 3. And I know what y'all are saying. Thor 2, yeah, we agree. But Thor 3, no, that was peak. Shut up. If you think Thor 4 sucked, why are you literally bending over backwards to make people want to believe that Thor 3 was good? Thor 3 started the crappy, stupid humor. It started the less serious Thor. It started the quippy jokes and trying to be just constantly funny. Like, come on. The Devil's Anus? That's from that movie. They butchered the Grand Master. That dude's supposed to be blue and, like, really powerful. Like, I don't know. People want to say that movie was good, and I can't agree. And people are like, Iron Man 2 wasn't that bad. I'm like, really? Because I remember back then people were complaining about, oh, it's just another villain that has to do with the Stark legacy, which was a problem up until the end of the first saga. Like, the first saga had so much tied to Tony or his father Howard or just the technology. I mean, think about it. The final movie of the Infinity Saga was dealing with a guy who's upset at Tony. Like, come on. That's not even his original storyline. Y'all could have done that. Separated it from Iron Man. Still had the, oh, I miss him thing, but not make a big focus on, you know, Mysterio being connected to Tony Stark's technology. Like, come on. Oh yeah, Hank Pym not liking the Starks. That's funny because he founded the Avengers with them in the comics. Hank Pym not founding the Avengers. Yeah, the original Avengers, I don't have that shirt on it, but it was Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. Captain America ain't even an OG Avenger. There's a part in the comics where they come across his frozen body, and it's those 5 Avengers chilling around. So they completely got that. Hank Pym not inventing Ultron? Like, why? Why is everything about Tony? And like, I get it. He's very popular. Everyone likes Iron Man now. It's not like the comic days where he was the alcoholic that showed up late or not at all, or threw up in his helmet and stuff like that. Like, come on. Oh yeah, they made up the 10 Rings organization. That started in Iron Man 1. Like, that doesn't exist. It's supposed to be the Hand. So when you really get down to it, it's like they made up a fake organization so that they could ruin Shang-Chi before they ever got started. So you want to talk about messing up characters? Come on. The Mandarin that isn't the Mandarin is Shang-Chi's father, when Shang-Chi's father is Fu Manchu, this transforming alien dragon thingy. And the 10 rings are martial art rings instead of, rings. They had magical powers over being technology. Like, yeah, they screwed that one up. And that's an Infinity Saga. Like a multiverse saga. But the fuck-ups for that started in the Infinity Saga. So they get credit for that, but, Infinity Saga, Multiverse Saga is the one who didn't fix it. So I guess you can argue that, of course they didn't fix it. They were trying to stick in line with what everyone already liked and appreciated from the beginning, but it was all messed up. The Mandarin joke, the Mandarin is one of Tony Stark's greatest enemies. His 10 rings are technology on a level that completely just shadows even the greatest of technology on the planet. And so ultimately, Tony Stark can't even tell that it's not magic. Like, that would have been so cool to do. You would have recovered the Iron Man series. Instead, Iron Man 1 is cool, but 2 and 3 just kind of Oh yeah, and Wong not being the assistant of the Sorcerer Supreme is kind of weird because that's what he is in the comics. But that's what I have against the Infinity Saga. So now let's go to points against the Multiverse Saga. So Thor 4, Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion was great up until it just went and never recovered. Yeah, the Mandarin's Rings of Power, I mentioned that already. So yeah, they could have fixed that, but they chose not to. The Mandarin himself, they could have fixed that, but they chose not to. Because the Mandarin is capable of magic, not just martial arts. And they replaced the magic with the 10 Rings thing, which he's the leader of an organization that doesn't even exist. So yeah, they just messed that up. Not recasting T'Challa. When the actor Chadwick Boseman is running around with cancer that's about to kill him, visiting kids in his Black Panther costume in cancer hospitals, and saying, if I'm ever not able to play the role, recast me. T'Challa is too important of a character in the MCU to let go. So what did they do? They said, we're going to honor Chadwick Boseman by killing the character off. Huh? It's not honoring someone to ignore their dying wish. So, if you defend the recasting, seriously, just shut up. Go look up Chadwick's opinion on it. You want to respect Chadwick? Do what he asked, not shit on it. Taskmaster. I mean, if you saw it and you remember the original big, beefy, muscular dude, and you understand his original story with his wife who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. and how he used to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and y'all pass that story up, dude, horrible idea to pass up. Saga plot goes above most fans' heads. I mean, look, I know it's hard to notice some of these things when you have to think past the fact that, ooh, the shiny magical rock. If it's not a shiny magical rock, you don't notice it? I mean, come on. The double bangles. The 10 rings. It's like we're building ancient bits of technology that don't match up with anything. Hey, I don't know. I kind of see it as a way. Those are the new MacGuffins. Except in a way, they're not the items that the bad guy is after, like the Infinity Stones. Instead, these are the items that will be used to defeat Kang, like the Infinity Stones ultimately were used, but in a totally different way. The boner joke. Oh my god. Like, I hope the rumors are true and that actor is coming back to play Quicksilver. But I was so disappointed at the end of the series. WandaVision really could have been the one that was bringing the first mutant back in and passed it up. So, yeah. And, okay, so some characters really shouldn't have been chosen. Like, okay, look. Have She-Hulk appear on the Daredevil series. We know Daredevil's going to do well. People love the Netflix series, no matter how fucking crap it was on accuracy of characters and things like that. It's still well loved. Daredevil is well known, so obviously it's a character that could be going down. And then you have him facing She-Hulk, introduce the superhero law division. There's a lot of things you could have done, but you decided to make a She-Hulk series. Now, the Miss Marvel one, if you're against the Miss Marvel series, you got to understand, you don't like the character. That's cool. But she has as many fans as way more popular characters, according to people that are against Miss Marvel. Like, she's literally, from the moment of creation to being in live action, yeah, she's in the top, I think, 3, maybe top 5 of quickest from creation to live action. I mean, she actually might be the fastest if you think about it, because most heroes are created like decades ago. So to sit there and point out that Miss Marvel came out like less than a decade ago and is already in live action? Oh yeah, she's popular. She's hitting that kind of Spider-Man or Miles Morales thing, but with different people. You know, it's the Spider-Man effect, but in a totally different way for a different group of people. Like, Spider-Man didn't have his parents. Miles has his parents, but loses one. And Kamala, she has both parents, but can't stand them. So the kids that can't stand their parents, the kids that wish they could have their parents, like, come on, you've got different ways that people connect with it. So let's be real. Just because you don't like the shows doesn't mean they weren't good. But even if you did like the shows, doesn't mean they were the best choices for characters. Like Echo. Honestly, I didn't know who Echo was until I heard she was going to be having a series after I was introduced to her in Hawkeye. I'm like, Hawkeye, yeah, that was cool. Love the Christmas kind of thing. I'm able to watch that, you know, every year if I want to. Same as the Christmas special from Guardians of the Galaxy. But it was more worth it than most. I mean, they should be putting the effort to be building up the Young Avengers. Instead of doing these other projects, you could be building the Young Avengers into something that people could grow into enjoying. When people go, well, nobody cares about those. No one knew who the fuck the Guardians of the Galaxy was. When you say use only characters that are new and that are, that are already fitting this female character or not white character, well, Disney does. And y'all still call it woke. It's kind of sick at this point, where you think, it's like, don't gender swap popular characters. You should do that to characters no one cares about. They do that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, see, it's woke. You tell them don't do something, they don't do it. They do what you tell them to do, and they're still fucking up. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, stop. All of the content creators and anybody who sees this video, if you really feel that Disney is woke, stop blaming Marvel for what Disney's doing. Like, stop. Kathleen Kennedy has nothing to do with Marvel. Like, back off of that. Or actually provide evidence in the comments down below. I'd love to engage with that, but I have yet to have anyone do more than, it's just woke, it's a feminist agenda, it's DEI, or it just sucks, nobody likes it. Where's your evidence? I'll go through and point out all the stuff that actually was good in those series. So, you know, you want to see what I'm talking about, go onto my actual channel, check out the Geeky Guru playlist, and boom, I go into most of the Infinity Saga right now. I'm going to be working towards covering everything else, but, you know, trying to keep on schedule with certain things. But let's get to the points for the Multiverse Saga before we get too long of a video here. Better world building and way quicker. And like I wrote some examples down. Superhero Legal Division, DODC, Sword. We go to more places from China to Talokan. It's the Multiverse Saga. How time works. We got to learn that in detail and actually learn it has to do with the multiverse. The beginning story and Eternals changed everything. It was kind of like they subtly changed history right in front of your eyes, and none of y'all have noticed. Like, ever since King was killed, the multiverse began, and all of a sudden changes have happened in the history, and no one's talking about those. If you're interested in me pointing all that out, go ahead and comment down below, and I'll get to that, at least put it on the schedule. Where was that? Oh yeah, Celestials themselves. We have supernatural, grounded, and cosmic characters coming in. Like, we're finally getting to it being the MCU. Like an actual Marvel universe. Once we get things like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in here, and we get Blade and the rest of the Midnight Suns, like, dude, it's going to be going off. But more new heroes, more factions, less organizations, more crossovers, more heroes in every project. We kill off less villains in this saga. Movies are about events and include character arcs over focusing on the character. And it's a more mature and less simple arc for the whole saga. So ultimately, my opinion hasn't changed. The Multiverse Saga is evidence that there are a bunch of fans out there that are like, oh god, it's not a white male lead, so wokeness. And it's kind of shitty. If you don't believe me, go look at the sales. Any project that has had a non-white or non-male character as the lead has done shitty. I'm sorry, I don't want to see the entire MCU turn into the Marvel Sausage Fest cinematic universe. I'd like to see some bouncing things up here and down there and not be something swinging around all the time. Like, let's be real. I don't like men like that. I'm not into guys. I'd like to see some women. It ain't about representation. It's just that, come on, man, can't the straight guys get something to look at? But y'all want to say it's getting woke because there ain't nothing but a bunch of, big balls on screen. So I just want to point out to you, if your defense is that we want nothing but men on there and well-written women, can you point out a well-written woman? Could you? Or are you just making stuff up so you can get away with having what you want to see on screen? And like, hey, no judgment. Everybody's got what they like. But I'm just not for a sausage fest or a taco fest. Let's have a mixture of everything. Come on, like, what's the big deal? I'm sorry that most writers were men and most writers were white. And back when most comic characters came out, we have a universe where 70% or more are male and white. But we got a lot of characters, and you might be like, oh, we'll use the characters that aren't, that are already not white and female. Well, they do, and then you hate them. There's a reason they were doing this. Now, do I think it's the best idea? No, but let's put it to you this way. You don't know who Charcoal is. You don't know who Night Thrasher is. You don't know who Dr. Voodoo is. So I'm for bringing them in. I'm for giving these people main state. Let's give them something to actually highlight. Like, man, I'm doing a video coming out before long about why the MCU needs Night Thrasher. Everybody says, oh, but Moon Knight is Marvel's version of Batman. I'm like, no. The guy that kills routinely, has superpowers, was given them by a god, can come back from life, and has super strength and agility and super durability and a magical suit, is not comparable to Batman. But tune in later and you'll be seeing my video about why Night Thrasher is literally Marvel's Batman. But till then, Catch you later.